Hello my dear students, welcome to our channel Rajesh Biology and I am Rajesh MSc Zoology. So today our topic is the accessory ducts of the reproductive system, male reproductive system. From the reated testes we will continue up to the urethra. Okay, so first we will discuss about reated testes. So outside the testis there is a fibrous connective tissue sheath that is called tunica albuginea, and outside the tunica albuginea there is a double folded peritoneum. The double folded peritoneum is called what? Tunica vaginalis. The tunica vaginalis is like this. It is double folded peritoneum. And within this the fluid is present. Okay, so this is the testis, and this the tunica albuginea inwards into the testis to divide the testis into 250 lobules, and every lobule contains 2 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubules. We already discussed up to now, and you already know the seminiferous tubules internal structure also. Seminiferous tubules internally lined by the germinal epithelium, that is also you already know that, right? And all these seminiferous tubules are opened into a network of capillaries. A network of capillaries. This is the network of capillaries which is called what? Retate testis. A network of capillaries is called what? Retate testis. Retate testis opens out as Vas Deferens. Vas Deferens. Retate testis opens into the Vas Deferens. It opens into the epididymis. It opens into what? Epididymis. Now, first we will discuss about the epididymis. Epididymis receives the sperm cells through the Vas Deferens, and epididymis is present on the posterior surface of the each testis. So like this. It is highly coiled tubule. Epididymis is also a highly coiled tubule, and it is present like this. This is the epididymis. The epididymis receives the sperm cells from the retate testis through the Vas Deferens, and Vas Deferens leaves the testis in the area of mediastinum testis. Very important. So many students get confused. What is retate testis? What is the testis? What is mediastinum testis? Testis is the primary sex organs which are located in the scrotal sac. Retate testis is the network of tubules which receive sperm cells from the seminiferous tubules. Come to the mediastinum testis. Mediastinum testis is the area. Here it is present with the connective tissue, and this is the tissue of the testis where the tunica vaginalis is not present. The area where the tunica vaginalis is not covered is called mediastinum testis. Through the mediastinum testis, the Vas Deferens. We already discussed about efferentia in frog male reproductive system. Efferentia means which take sperm cells away from the testis. Okay, so Vas Deferens opens into the epididymis. Epididymis is very important. Epididymis is divided into 3 parts. One is carpet, carpus, and cauda epididymis. Carpet epididymis, carpus epididymis, and cauda epididymis. 3 regions are there. First region is called carpet, and middle carpus, and last caudal region is caudal epididymis. Caput epididymis, corpus epididymis, and cauda epididymis or caudal epididymis. And this caudal epididymis gradually leads into a vas deferens. Gradually leads into what? Vas deferens. It's like this. And entire this is present in the spermatic cord. This is located in what? In the spermatic cord. This spermatic cord is present in the scrotal sac. So this is the scrotal sac which is present outside the abdominal cavity. Clear about the epididymis? Now come to the epididymis functions. What is the function of epididymis? Epididymis gives time and space for the sperm cells to get mature. Time and space to get sperm cells mature. So sperm cells get mature within the epididymis. Before the ejaculation, the sperm cells get matured within the epididymis, and epididymis provide nourishment also. Epididymis also a glandular substances are present. Glandular tissues is present in the epididymis. The epididymis is also going to secrete some secretions which help in the nourishment of the sperm cells. It gives the time and the space and the nourishment for the maturation of the sperm cells. And epididymis leads into the vasa deferentia. It leads into what? Vasa deferentia. Now come to the vasa deferentia and its function. Vasa deferentia is internally lined by what? Pseudostratified. Very important. Pseudostratified. I think we discussed about pseudostratified epithelium in epithelial tissues. Pseudo means false, strata means layers. So the epithelium look like this. It is a pseudostratified columnar epithelium. It is a pseudostratified what? Columnar epithelium. So the epithelium look like this, and it is a pseudostratified columnar epithelium. And not only the pseudostratified columnar epithelium, here some amount of lamina propria. Lamina propria means what? Areolar tissue. Lamina propria. Lamina means layer. Propria. Connective tissue proper. We discussed. I think connective tissue proper means areolar tissue. So lamina propria, pseudostratified columnar epithelium is present in the vasa deferentia, and vasa deferentia is runs into the abdominal wall, into the abdominal cavity. So I'll do one thing. I'll erase this entire diagram and I'll redraw the diagram in a small manner. Then you can understand how the vasa deferentia run into the abdominal wall, abdominal cavity. So here is the scrotal sac, and it is the external genitalia. And here it is the abdominal wall, abdominal cavity, and it is the inguinal canal. It is what? Inguinal canal. And here it is the testis and epididymis. This epididymis leaves the scrotum and enter into the abdominal cavity through the inguinal canal. So I will show like this. And it enter into the abdominal cavity through the inguinal canal, and it loops over the urinary bladder. For example, if it is the urinary bladder, just imagine as it is the urinary bladder. It loops over the urinary bladder. Okay, and of course these two are the what? These two are the ureters. These two are what? Ureters. Here also ureters are there. So it loops over the urinary bladder and it collects a duct from, and it collect what? A duct from seminal vesicles. It collects a duct from seminal vesicles and forms a ejaculatory duct. And forms what? Ejaculatory duct. So, okay, I'll do one thing in a clear manner. I'll try to draw the another diagram. With a single stroke. It is the urinary bladder. It is the ejaculatory duct. Seminal vesicle. Vas deferentia or ductus deferens. The ductus deferens comes from testis, so epididymis, so here, so try to understand this diagram. It is the testis, and on the posterior surface of the testis there is the epididymis, and it is the caput epididymis, corpus epididymis, cauda epididymis. The cauda epididymis is opens into the vasa deferentia. The vasa deferentia or ductus deferens, which is internally lined by the pseudostratified epithelium and some amount of areolar tissue, lamina propria. This vasa deferentia runs into the abdominal cavity through which canal it is? It is called inguinal canal. Through the inguinal canal, it runs into the abdominal cavity and it loops over the urinary bladder. It loops over the urinary bladder. And listen, up to here it is the what? Ductus deferens or vasa deferentia. It is called what? Vasa deferentia. Now, try to understand. This vasa deferentia, before it enter into the, it act like a urethra. It collects a duct from the what? It collects a duct from seminal vesicle. It collects a duct from seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicle secretes some secretions that is called seminal fluid, okay, which is a major constituent of the semen. We will discuss about the seminal vesicle secretions in the next class. So seminal vesicles going to secrete the seminal fluid, and this vasa deferentia collect a duct. I will give another some more clarity with this duct. So the duct is fuses like this, and the duct is continue like this, and it collect a duct from seminal vesicle. Together they form, these together form blue color duct. Is called what? Ejaculatory duct. What it is called? Ejaculatory duct. So ejaculatory duct is the fusion of vasa deferentia and seminal vesicle duct together called ejaculatory duct. And now what it is called? It is the urinary bladder. So from the urinary bladder what will arise? This is called urethra. Urethra is started from the urinary bladder. Here we discussed about vasa deferentia of one side, and there is two testicles. Okay, a pair of testes are present. So from a pair of testes, a pair of epididymis is also there. From a pair of epididymis, a pair of vas deferens is also arise. So outer side also there is a vas deferens. And that vas deferens is also enter into the abdominal cavity. And both ejaculatory ducts come and combined with the ureter, which is originated from the urinary bladder. And all these are converged or all placed in a prostate gland. Just beneath the urinary bladder, there is a single, it is not a paired structure, there is a prostate gland. So I'll try to draw this diagram here. It is what? Urinary bladder, and it is what? Ureter or urethra. You can write like urethra. It is not ureter, it is the urethra. Okay, and it is ejaculatory duct of both the sides. Ejaculatory duct of the both the sides. If it is ejaculatory duct, this is seminal vesicle duct. This is what? Seminal vesicle duct. If it is the seminal vesicle duct, it is what? Vasa deferentia. It is what? Vasa deferentia. So if you observe, just beneath, immediately beneath the urinary bladder, there is a triangle shaped or heart shaped single gland is there. This gland is called what? Prostatic gland. That gland is called what? Prostatic gland. So this is the structure. What I want to show here is prostatic gland, and within the prostatic gland ejaculatory ducts fuse together. Okay, now very important point. The point which is mentioned in the textbook is the ejaculatory duct enter into the prostatic gland, and at the middle of the prostatic gland, in the middle of the prostatic gland, it merges with the urethra. So now this urethra is called what? Prostatic urethra. This urethra is called what? Prostatic urethra. So up to the ejaculatory duct, it is purely reproductive ducts only. It is purely reproductive duct up to the ejaculatory duct. After the ejaculatory duct, it is a urinogenital duct. That is nothing but urethra. Now, next concept, next duct is what? Urethra. Urethra is started from posterior end of the urinary bladder, and it enter into the prostatic gland, and it collect two ejaculatory ducts. A pair of ejaculatory ducts are merged in the urethra. And the urethra which is present in the prostatic gland is called prostatic urethra. Prostatic urethra. And this prostatic urethra continues out. This prostatic urethra or the urethra continues out. So like this. Here it is a red color. It continues out through the penis, which is the male external genitalia. It will continues out. And the urethra, into the urethra prostatic gland also opens with several ducts. We will discuss about the prostate gland secretions and everything later. So seminal vesicles are opens into the ejaculatory duct, and prostatic gland secretions opens into the urethra, and urethra continues, and it collects ducts from bulbourethral glands. It collects ducts from what? Bulbourethral glands, which are present just at the starting point of the internal penis. So here it is the structure. If you observe, these are the structure. It is the structure. Okay. So like this. Now this urethra have three major parts. One is prostatic urethra. You already know that. Another one is membranous urethra. Another one is what? Membranous urethra, which is present between the prostatic urethra and the penile urethra. So where there is a gap, where there is no covering, that coveringless urethra is called membranous urethra, and the urethra which is present within the prostate gland is called prostatic urethra, and the urethra which is present in the penis, that is called penile urethra. Penile urethra is also called spongy urethra. Okay, spongy urethra, and this urethra opens out. Urethra opens out as urethral meatus. It opens out as what? Urethral meatus. So in this class we discussed about the retate testis, which is a network of capillaries which collect the sperm cells from the seminiferous tubules. Second, that is vasa efferentia, which opens into the epididymis through the mediastinum testis. Mediastinum testis is the area where there is no tunica vaginalis covering. Okay, and vasa efferentia opens into the epididymis. Epididymis divided into three parts: carpet, carpus, cauda, and it gives the time and space for the sperm cell maturity. And then next, the epididymis opens into the vasa deferentia. Vasa deferentia is lined by pseudo-stratified columnar epithelium, and it is also lined by lamina propria, and it enters into the abdominal cavity through the inguinal canal and loops over the urinary bladder. It collects a duct from seminal vesicle, and the duct from seminal vesicle and vasa deferentia together called ejaculatory duct, which is very important. Both the sides, ejaculatory ducts opens into the prostatic gland. In the middle of the prostatic gland, they merge with the urethra, and that urethra is the common passage for both urine and semen. And the urethra, which opens out with the help of, with the hole, the opening of the urethra is called what? Urethral meatus. And the urethra which is present in the prostatic gland is called prostatic urethra, and the next membranous urethra, and the next spongy urethra. This is the accessory ducts of the male reproductive system. In next class, we will discuss about external genitalia and accessory glands of the male reproductive system. Okay, hope you understand. Thank you.